Ta-da, we're live. Yay. All right. Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope y'all are doing good. So we are on Instagram. We are on Facebook and on YouTube. And I think we're on Periscope. So we might be on Twitter as well. So, hey, everybody. I hope y'all are good. If y'all can give me some loving with some hearts, that'd be great. Just because I like seeing hearts. I know I'm that needy. I know I love seeing hearts. That's just the needy part of me. So I just got back from my walk and I took a shower because I was like, I got a little time. I can take a shower first, so I feel all refreshed. So if you guys want to go ahead and start posting your questions in the comment section below, I will try to get to as many of you as I can. Of course, I won't be able to answer all of your questions, but I will do my very best to try to reach as many of you as I can. I'm going to do the text or the word version readings first for the first half, and then we'll get into the video connects with y'all as well. Let's see what else. Okay, so of course I am not a licensed medical doctor, counselor, attorney, or law enforcement official. For legal medical advice or treatment, please consult a licensed professional. You can always change your future. It is never set in stone. My statements are personal opinions, not proven facts, so whatever decisions or actions you make in your life, you are 100% responsible and liable for them. That's pretty much it. So if you want to ask me about your life, whether it's finances, health and wellness, career and work, or relationships, you can ask. Just be specific, because I need to know what you're asking me about. Just asking me, what do I see, or do I have a message for you, or does anyone have a message for you, or does anyone in spirit have a message for you? That's too general. Y'all are going to need to be specific. If you want me to connect with a loved one in spirit, let me know who you want to connect with, and I'll try to connect and get a message from that person for you. For those of you who just want to connect with spirit, just pick somebody, because it just helps me to kind of link up to somebody and try to get something from somebody. Let's see, because it just takes sometimes, it takes too long to figure out who may be coming through. And if we're going off of the assumption that this is that person, then it should validate that. So that's usually the way it works best. What else? I think that's it. I think that's it. I think that's all I have to say about all of that. So, okay, so I'm going to just bounce around here. I'm not going in any particular order. So, yeah. And guys, complete questions. I don't speak code. So if you want to use like 2 words, like, is it what? What is it? Like, what are you asking me? Like, y'all need to use complete sentences so that I can understand what you're asking me, okay? All right, so let's go over here. Thank you. Yeah, I just cut my hair yesterday. I cut it myself because I haven't been to my stylist since February. So it takes a lot of practice. And even then I messed up a little bit. Like, see right here is okay. But then over here, I like totally got a little too far up. And so I kind of like, the good thing is I have a pencil. So I have like this magic, like, like an eyebrow pencil, because sometimes my eyebrows are too thin. That's what happens when you're young and gay and you want to have your like eyebrows wax all the time. You mess up your eyebrows. And so I have a pencil because I like my eyebrows to kind of have a thicker, more like fuller look to them. Just like, so I sometimes pencil my eyebrows in a little bit to give them right. What's the freaking point? So, all right. So, Ms. Vanessa Rodriguez, you want to stop with all them baby faces, because you just need to ask a specific question. You're boy or girl, like, what are you asking? Like, I want you to put that in a complete sentence, girl. I'm gonna need you to put that into complete sentence. I think going the route of giving me a complete sentence instead of 1,573 baby faces is the best way to go. Because I see your picture, but I'm gonna wait till you ask me a full question. Okay. All right, so let's go here. And I'll get back to you, girl. I'll get back to you in a minute. Okay, so let's see. Let's go over here. Let's see. Okay, let's see. All right, so Danielle J8902. Hi, Ferny. In April, you predicted someone much older would come into my life, and I think have met him. His name is Josh. Do you have any insight on him? Thank you. I actually don't feel bad about the connection, so I would say it doesn't feel bad at all. You might need to be a little patient, just because I think it may take 2.5, 3 months for him to work through some residual stuff that he's kind of working himself out of. So you just need to be a little bit patient. He may also seem a little distracted. I think that's just because there's stuff going on and he's just trying to deal with all that. So I don't feel bad about that. Don't take his lack of like obsession with you, because people believe that like love, like if you love me, you should be obsessed with me. you should want to do nothing else but look at me. Be obsessed with you. Just stop being obsessed with yourself. That's what you need to be. But people always assume that like that's love. That's not loveful. That's not love. But in this case, Danielle, I do think that you need to be a little patient and also give him a little bit of slack at the end of this year, because his lack of like obsession with you may not be a message that he's not interested. It just may mean that he's just like prioritizing other things. So be patient. Okay. Let's see. It's Judy first, Judy one. Hey Ferny, do you see me traveling this year? Yeah, I see you going somewhere in November. I want to say though that you're gonna probably stay. I want to say you might just stay local, so I don't think you're going to go too far. Like, I don't think you're going to go around the world, or I don't think you're going to go to like the other side of the country. I think you might stay pretty local. So you're either going to stay in the same state or in the surrounding states to your state. But I don't really think you're going to go that far. I honestly think you might just be traveling like over to like a different side of the state, or like right on the edge of the border where there's the border of a state. Because I feel like I'm kind of seeing that. Marisa Wilbur. Hi, Ferny. I'd like to connect with my sister-in-law. It's so interesting because as soon as I like even hear the word sister-in-law, I was Ann Summers originally, and then it was well, she was Cindy, and then there was Terry and Janet. I don't know why I'm thinking of Drew's Company. At first, I thought, and also I want to say 6 or 16. 16. The 16th of the month may be significant as well. So like the 16th of any month, or January 6th, but there's a reference there as well. She also keeps referencing thank you. She's talking about the four things that have been. I wonder if she's talking about like 4 tattoos, or like two pieces of jewelry and 2 tattoos. There's almost like 4. It's almost like she's talking about 4 things that have been done to honor her, but I feel like it's in something physical. So it's almost like either a tattoo or like jewelry, but I want to say 4 because she's referencing that. So there's a reference there as well. She also, she's the hummingbird. So the hummingbirds are going to be connected to her. Okay. Birds in general, but I think hummingbirds specifically. CSTML, my husband died of suicide. Is he okay? So first of all, he wants to apologize because he makes me feel like he didn't really fully grasp what he was doing. And it's kind of like when you do something out of a moment of passion, or out of a moment where you're like, you think you're right in your thinking, but you're not. And he's almost acknowledging that or apologizing for that. He also keeps, I'm hearing a pop sound. I don't know if this was with a gun or if there was a sound that was made, like a slam or a pop that was made, because I'm kind of hearing a sound like that because he's making reference to that. He also keeps, thank you. He's dropping pennies around for you, so you may find coins or pennies in like the weirdest places. And I almost it's reminiscent of Ghost. Remember the movie? I don't know if you remember the movie Ghost, but in the movie Ghost, Patrick Swayze's trying to let her know his Demi Moore, his I guess you can call her a fiance or his partner. He's trying to let her know that he's there, and so he's like moving pennies or like lifting pennies up in the air. So but your husband is referencing that or acknowledging that. He also keeps referencing thank you. He showed me the letter L, so there might be an L name connection, male to either him or to you. But I feel like he's trying to say hello or acknowledge somebody. So there's an L name like Lou or Louis or Louis. So there's a reference there. Could be Lupe, but I'm thinking it's Lou. He also keeps referencing thank you. He says that he calls you like, it's so interesting. I'm not sure how I understand it, because I'm seeing you all dressed in white, which for me I would think that's like a wedding picture or something like that. But he's actually like showing me dressed in white, and he's showing me like Frozen, like the movie Frozen, you know, like Elsa when she was dressed in white. So I don't know if there's a costume of dressing in white or there's actually something you recently were doing with a white dress or dressed all in white, but he's referencing something like that. But he's also showing up in your dreams, and you might be able to smell him sometimes when you're laying in bed, because he says he comes around when you're laying in bed, and see if you can smell him. Okay, let's go over here. Adriana Perez. Hi, Ferny. Any exciting news for me soon or messages from my brother? I recently dreamt him, and the dreams are so real. Also, nice cut. Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, as far as your brother is concerned, he actually makes me feel thank you. You know what's interesting is he's showing me, I feel like I'm looking at a plot of land, or I feel like Lily? Is there? Thank you. There's also an L name with him. He's referencing like Lily or Lulu or Lily. Might be, could be Lulu. It almost feels like a female name. So it's like Lulu or Lily. I have a cousin named Lucy, but I don't think that's it. I think it's like Lulu or Lily because he's referencing something like that as well. He also keeps thinking he's showing me baby. So he's referencing a baby as well. So I don't know if you're planning on having a child or are pregnant, or if there's a baby that you're, or you're going to try to get pregnant, but he's actually referencing that. So there's either a baby coming into the family or someone's about to get pregnant, but there's a reference there that he's making reference to. He also keeps talking about thank you. I don't know if you were sitting at a park, like at a park with the bayou, or at a park where there was like water, like the ocean, but he's acknowledging like this situation, and then like you may have said something or whispered something to him, but he's acknowledging having a conversation with you or connecting with you at a place where there's like water and you're like kind of sitting there or at the edge, and he's just referencing that. Okay. Miriam M. Hi, Ferny. Will my sister Jay mental health get better? Please, any insight will help. I think this is going to be a bit of a rocky road. I feel like she's going to have to get really assessed either again or by some other person that's like a specialist, because the way I'm feeling, actually, the way I'm feeling about this, I'm almost reminded of when my mom started having schizophrenic episodes and they could not figure out what was wrong with her, and they were trying to find like ways of figuring it out. And then I'm taken back to a friend of mine who used to work for me, and one day he showed up at work and something was wrong, and I knew something was wrong, and I was like, okay, I want you to go home. I want you to go to your mom. And I called her and told her, like, you need to get him like diagnosed. There's something off with his behavior, and I mean, it's almost reminiscent of schizophrenia, but you to take him to get properly diagnosed with a doctor, the specialist, and turns out he has like a unique form of it, but he's on medication now, he's doing better. So I was like, okay, I'm glad he got like diagnosed, but I feel like it took a year for them to get to that point. I feel like with your sister, I'm not saying that she's schizophrenic, but I feel like her condition or her mental state is not just like bipolarism. It's not just, oh, like I'm having a bad day or I'm not able to cope. No, I think there's something more there that she needs to go and get properly diagnosed, because I think that would make a bit of difference. I also think it wouldn't surprise me, especially in the next month or two, if she has to be hospitalized for something. So I would say be prepared that there may have to be a lot of like dramatic situations play out before things can get better. I do think things can get better, but I feel like she needs to be properly diagnosed, and it may take about 6 or 7 months before I think there will be any stability to the situation. Okay. Vanessa Rodriguez. She fast. Thank you, Vanessa, for asking the full question. It's funny because whenever people are like that, they're like, boy, girl. Like they're like I feel like they're snapping at me. I'm like, bitch, don't be snapping at me. Like, I don't know who you think you're talking to, but I'm gonna need you to speak to me, not to like order from me, because I'm a human being and I am about to put up with that. Like, that's how I get in my head. You won't ever hear it because I'm pretty good at like trying to stay pretty relaxed and calm. But still, so I was like, girl, I know you're not just like throwing something at me, like expecting me to like snap, girl. I don't think so. But thank you for asking. Thank you for asking that complete sentence. Do you see a baby boy in our future? We have 2 girls now. Thanks. I actually see 2 children, so I think there's actually going to be 2 more children, boy and a girl. So I do think you're going to get one of each. So, but I do think there's going to be 2 more children. I would put that within 2.5 years though. So it may not happen right this minute, but I do think within 2.5 years, I'm seeing 2 kids and 1 boy and 1 girl. Okay. The boy may come first though. So the boy may come first, and then there may be a surprise. That's what I'm thinking. Christina Garcia Brown. I'm starting to open up to the thought of dating again. Do you see someone significant coming into my life soon? So here's the thing. When you're not open to the thought of dating, that means automatically that you feel like it's useless. There's no way you're going to be able to find anybody. You haven't found anybody. It hasn't worked for you. You don't know when it works. It's just BS. And you just like, there's already all of that energy built up inside of you. So it's almost like, I'm never going to catch a fish. I'm never going to, I'm going to go to the ocean. I'm not going to catch a fish. I'm not going to catch any food. There's not going to be enough fish in the water. There's never going to be like, it's almost like you're already like a built up mindset, and then you show up to the beach and you're like, I'm not going to catch any fish. I know I'm not going to catch fish, but you don't even have bait. Like, girl, you don't even have the bait. So of course you're not going to have fish. Of course you're not going to catch anything. Here's the thing, you don't have any bait right now. So even if you open up to the potential of dating right now, you're pretty closed off. And even if you're like dating doesn't mean your heart's open. Dating doesn't mean your mind's open. Dating doesn't mean you're willing to take the risk. Dating doesn't mean that you are open to, getting to know people or letting them show themselves to you. Dating doesn't mean that you're willing to like expose yourself and be okay if it does hurt, if it doesn't work out for you. Dating doesn't mean any of those things. Dating just means I'm going to get on an app, or I'm gonna like let myself get asked out. Like, that's what dating means to some people. That's not enough, girl. You need to be like, if you can't just drive to the ocean and throw your hook in and think that it's gonna work. You need to get the bait. So this is what you do to get the bait. You need to work on your vulnerability, and I've used this recipe before for a lot of people, so they already know what I'm going to say. There's a really great audiobook by Brene Brown called "The Power of Vulnerability" by Brene Brown, because you need to learn to be open and receptive. The second thing I would suggest is a book by Cheryl Richardson called The Art of Extreme Self-Care. You need to learn to love yourself so good that you don't need anybody to love you. You love yourself so good that you don't need anybody. You need to treat yourself so well and have good standards. You. Then you apply that out into the world. Then you put that out where you expect that from other people, but don't expect it from other people to make up for what you haven't experienced, because at that point you're basically like, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So I think you need to work on yourself before you do. I also will say this, the first 1 or 2 times that you start to date again is probably going to be, it's going to feel like a waste of time, and that's okay. It needs to be a waste of time because you need to practice your skills. You need to practice your skills. You can't just be like, oh my God, hello world, I'm here. Now my soulmate can show up. No, girl. Like, I'm going to need you to get realistic. I need you to be okay with going on dates, with talking to people, with wasting an hour of your day just talking to people and finding out if there's any chemistry or not. That's what you need to be okay with. Like, you need to get to that mental place where you're okay with just talking to people, getting to know people without expecting that the first person you talk to is going to be your soulmate. Because if you go into it with that, you're being delusional like the rest of society, and you're basically letting the notebook dictate how you should think of love and how you should think of like reality. So I need you to like get away from that. But if you open up properly and you actually do the work and you work on yourself as well, you can draw in positive, healthy opportunities in love and relationship. With that being said, I know you're like, Ferny, I didn't ask you for all that. I just want you to give me, I just want you to answer my question. Well, yeah, but you're asking me, you're asking me. I'm not a freaking like button on a box. And you're like, I'm going to click this button and it's going to do whatever I want it to do. No, I'm not a button. I'm Ferny. You came to me. So that's why you got that. Now, with that being said, I do see you getting into another relationship or into a serious relationship in about 2 years. It might take 2 years. Person's name starts with a T. I want to say it's actually T-I. They may go by TT or Tai Tai, but it's like a short. But the full name is like Tiberius. Like it's a really funny long name, but they go by TT or Tai Tai, something like that, because it was a baby name. But 2 years, it might take 2 years for them to show up. They've got connections to Florida or to Cuba, so they may have a family background in that. Okay, I'm just saying, y'all. Like if y'all are gonna talk to Ferny or ask Ferny questions, you're gonna get Ferny answering the question. So I'm just letting y'all know, and for future sake. It's Jennifer. It's Jennifer, that's funny. Hey, Ferny, will my child custody battle resolve in January, or will I have to go to court? What do you seek regarding that matter, please? Thank you so much. I feel like you're probably going to have to go to court, and you might have to go to court twice. The reason why is because the first time you have to go to court feels like it's almost an extension, or it's almost like it's just kind of asking for more, and it's like we could have done this before we came to the first court hearing. So I feel like you might have to go to court, and you might have to go twice. I do think, however, that the second time you go, there will be enough evidence there or enough there to validate your claims. And I think that you may even be able to have like a person that's in the law enforcement, like a police officer or someone who's like in law enforcement, vouch for you, which would be really, really incredible and interesting to have someone like that vouch for you. Okay. Let's see, lower this down. Lucky Desperado. Hey, Ferny, feeling a little lost right now. Didn't get the job at MMI and moved to New York City. Is feeling like a pipe dream. Any insight to get me back on the path? Give it about 6 weeks, because I think that you'll feel a little bit better in about 6 weeks. I do think that you may consider something closer to you or local to you that may have to do with like an academy or university program. It may not be what you're like in or what you're associated with, but I keep seeing like a university program. And there may be something like that you have an option of. But then I think that I'm thinking that that's within 6 weeks. But then January comes around, and I feel like you'll have another option come up. And it's funny because you might get really situated or comfortable with the new job or the next job, and then the opportunity to like up and pack up and go may come up, which may take you to the upper Northeast or to New York City. So be prepared, because there may be some changes early next year. But I feel like in 6 weeks is when you might see something change. Okay. Michelle G. Hi, Ferny. Can you tell me who I was in my past life and how many times have I been here? Thank you. I think you've been here about 16 or 17 times. I also think that one of your past lives, I don't know if this was your last one, but in one of your past lives, you were named Gwendolyn. So that was one of your names. I also think that you... the lifetime is Gwendolyn. I want to say you were like a matron, or back when they used to have the trains, and they used to have like the Harvey girls or the women in the trains that would like go and like do cigarettes and all. Like I'm seeing that, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was in your last lifetime or in one of the previous lifetimes, you were like a Harvey girl, or you like worked in the train, like doing that kind of stuff. So I feel like there's something like that you would have done. Tiffany Cardenas. Hey, Ferny, I keep having electronics going haywire and even getting shocks when touching metal. I also keep having dreams of my son. Is he trying to tell me something? I think that the reason why you're having more dreams of him is because you're actually you're having kind of a little bit of a psychic awakening. So the electrical stuff, all that stuff, it's not a spirit doing that. That's you doing that. You're doing that. I think your own emotional balance is getting kicked out of whack, and I think because of this, you basically have like you're putting out too much energy. There's too much energy output, and you're bringing in a lot of energy through your system, but you don't have a healthy way of like releasing it. So it's kind of building up within you. And because it's building up within you, if you get emotionally unstable or you have an emotional reaction or whatever, it starts to cause reactions because that's another layer of energy and the systems around you just can't handle it. So I think that's where it's coming from. And the reason why you're having more dreams of your son is because you are having a psychic awakening, which is making you more sensitive, which is making it easier for him to come in and say hi and visit with you. Okay. Tanya McDonald, is the job I started going to work out? No, probably not. I think that you'll probably stick with it for a couple of months, and then by the end of the year or by the Christmas break, I think you'll be done with it. So I think you might only be there for just a couple months. There might be another job that comes up, but you might have to wait a little bit. It's funny because I feel like there's going to be, like, you might be having two jobs at one time. So you might have another job on top of this one. You may end up getting another job and then sticking with that one for a bit while this one ends. And then you end up getting another job because I'm almost seeing you going through a period where you're working two jobs or you're working on two projects or two jobs at the same time. But there's a feeling of that comes up for you, especially early next year because I'm seeing a lot more of it around that time. Cindy Silvera. Hey, Ferny, I have been trying to get pregnant. Do you see this happening for me and when? Yeah, I think it's gonna take about a year and 7 months. So even though you've been trying right now, I feel like it might take about a year and 7 months. You need to go get your, I want you to get your iron checked because I feel like your iron's a little bit off, and I think that might be contributing or affecting that. If you start to notice your cycle's getting a little bit wonky or wacky, or it's like some people have heavy flow, some people have light flow. If you notice a big difference there, you need to go get your iron levels checked because I feel like that might be contributing. I also think that there is a little bit. I wouldn't say that your uterus is inhospitable. Like there's no way to do. I think what's going on is the inside, inner lining or the inside kind of area where the egg would attach itself to. I feel like something's off there, and so either the pH balance may be off in your system, or you may need to go and see if something's off and you need to take something to kind of clear it up, because I feel like something's going on there that might be making it a little bit harder for you. But I feel like in about a year and 7 months you might be successful. Kelly Metcalf Mathern. Any messages for my beloved daughter? Yes. I'm hearing happy birthday. So I don't know if you just passed her birthday or if we're within a birthday within 30 days because she's singing happy birthday. She also keeps, actually she showed me two. So there might actually be two birthdays within a very short period of time because she's making me feel that way. She also keeps referencing, thank you. I'm seeing the 10th. So I don't know if the 10th is significant. Like, October, we're in October, so this month, or if it's on the 10th, there's a date that's significant as well for any month, but she's referencing that as well. She's also shown me a little bear. It almost feels like, I don't know if the bear is made out of like different, you know how some bears, they have like different patches where there's there's one fabric and then there's another fabric that's a different like type of fabric and it makes up like a bear. If there's something like that, or if there's something about like fabrics coming together to create something plush or like, because she's making me feel this way. She also, thank you. Cardinals are connected to her, butterflies are connected to her. So she's going to send both of those to you. She uses a lot of signs actually. Cardinals, butterflies, and ladybugs. So all three of those I think are connected to her as well. She's also showing me a key. I don't know if there's like a locket with a key or there's like a key type like dangly thing, but she showed me a key. So I don't know what the key is connected, but she's almost referencing that as well. She also says, thank you. You may have heard her. So she's acknowledging and almost making a sound. Either you may have physically heard her or you listened to her voice because of something that you have recorded, but she's referencing that as well. Okay. Let's bring somebody on. Let's see who wants to come on here. Oh, let's bring Borvito on. Hey, Mama.
I didn't expect that was quick.
Well, yeah.
Hi.
How
So
you
long
doing,
time
Mama?
no see.
I know, right? I know. All right.
The
Who did
reading
you want me to
today
connect
was
with?
okay. Well, that reading today was really, really good, and I got my sister investigating stuff. Everything else is so on point.
Okay, cool. So you
Beautiful.
understood what I was talking about with the stuff now.
A lot of stuff, but we're
Okay.
still working on some.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's one of those things. Like people, like I said, people like
it's
they go, they're
okay.
like, no, I don't know, and then they like start finding the stuff. I'm like, oh
Oh,
my
it's
god.
coming. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah.
But I had a quick. I had to ask you something. So on my son Jerry today we were talking, um, but he had an interview with Starbucks. It's not the job I wanted him, but they called him.
Mhm.
It's not the actual one I wanted him to get, but they called him and he had an interview. Do you see him getting that job or another one?
I think that they may offer another location, or there may be an opening at another because I feel like they're going to be staffing for two stores, and I feel like he may think that they're staffing for that store, but some of the people are going to be going over to another store as well. So he might actually get an opportunity with one of the stores that they're hiring at. I don't feel
Okay.
bad about the opportunity. I think that it would be okay for him.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking he's probably going to get it, or he's probably going to take it.
Okay. Do you see Robert, his husband? Do you see him getting a job there as well, or splitting up?
I think that no, I think he's going to get a job. I don't think he's going to get a job there at Starbucks. I think he's going to get a job at
Yeah,
another location, another type of business. I almost want to say he might get a job at some place like Target or Walmart. Like it feels like something like that. Here's the
department
thing:
store. Okay.
does he have something on his record?
Um, I don't think so.
Okay, that may
On
bite
his
him in the.
record? Oh, he does. He might. Yeah, my daughter
Okay,
just said he.
okay, that may bite him in the butt. So he may have to get a little
Okay.
bit picky with what he's able to get because I
Okay.
feel like that's going to kind of knock him, and that's going to hurt him a little bit. Um, I also think that I don't see a split up right now, so I'm not seeing that right
Do
now.
you think does he genuinely love Jerry?
I think so. I think he does. I
Okay.
think that the problem is that sometimes when you grow up in a life around people and you're kind of taught to be a certain way or
Yeah.
you're conditioned to be a certain way, it's not always easy to accept love into your life, even if it's actually healthy love. And so some people are very much they like shoot themselves in the foot or they self sabotage, and I feel like there's a
Yeah.
lot of sabotaging with them.
When you asked me about, or when you told me about, you keep telling me, I know, I'm sorry, I keep asking you because I want to, when we move, right? When we move and you keep seeing California, you kept seeing California, I want to go back to Hawaii.
Hmm. Hmm.
Although you keep seeing California,
Hmm.
it's been killing me. Do you think that it's because that's the same thing you saw with that's coming over here? We always have to go through to California to like ship the cars. Could it be because we will take the road trip and we still have to go to
Hmm.
California to ship the cars? Or am I totally off and this is
No,
probably
that's possible, but I'm asking myself again, is she going to California? And they're like, yeah, like she's going to California. And specifically like San Diego. I keep seeing San Diego.
I
I
know
keep
you do
the
for a
area.
long time.
Yeah, and I just see, and I know sometimes my predictions or my timing is off by 1 year.
Yeah.
So I'm still gonna stick with it. I have another client, and I kept telling him like all these things that were gonna happen because of some relationships he was in. And I was telling him this last year, it didn't
Yeah.
happen. And I was like, well, oh no. But every time I'd ask myself, it still was there, and so I was like, it's still there. I don't know.
Huh.
This year, it's like literally every single thing has happened exactly like I said it last year. So I was completely off by 1 year, and he's like I'm never
Oh
gonna go to
yeah.
anyone. Yeah, so it's like I might just I mean, and the thing about it is when I'm tuning in my mind, and as time has progressed, I've gotten more and more accurate because timing is a really tricky thing to get down. As time has progressed, when I see things in my mind, I'm seeing it in the now. I'm seeing it in the moment that I'm seeing it. So I have to figure out, okay, how far away is this, or how far out is this? And I start to go through the months, trying to see if I can count down the months. And usually, I will. Most of the times, I will say it's in the year that I'm sensing it.
Hmm.
But again, sometimes I'm just completely off by 1 year and it happens exactly on the same time than the following year. So this is why I tell people don't bank
Yeah.
because I may be off by my timing. And it's not like I have something saying if this doesn't happen in this year, that's it.
Yeah.
No, like it could just be wrong. So
Yeah, because you've also said that when Jeff gets back from Korea, you were like he'll already know, and that we
where he's
should be
going.
moving. Yeah,
Hmm.
and that we should be moving like
Yeah, because
soon
what they're
here.
gonna do, yeah, because he's in the Navy.
The army.
Okay, what's happening is I see a collaboration happening with the Navy and the Army that's going to happen. I want to say this might happen either by the end of this year or very early next year. There's a collaboration because I see a lot of cruisers right
Hmm.
near the coastline, kind of where Mexico starts and where the U.S. like territory starts. So I see them out there, and I'm like, why are they just sitting out there? Now, granted, they do a lot of exercises, and that's usually why they're out there. But it
Uh-huh.
almost feels like there are it almost feels like there are exercises where they're like coordinating or like a reworking of where our people are at and moving people
Mm-hmm.
over from one area to another or moving them from like one territory to another. So I'm kind of
Mm.
thinking a part of it and why San Diego is going to be such an important place that they need to have a presence for some reason. I don't know why, but I think I keep seeing California. I don't feel like it's going to be.
Ah,
You may go back to Hawaii, but it may take 4 or 5 years. But that's
oh
because
my,
you may buy property in Hawaii, and that's where I'm thinking that's going to come
the
from.
property.
Yeah, because
Okay.
someone you may have been connected to back there, either leaves you a piece of property, or you actually get a chance to
Mm.
buy someone's property that you knew in Hawaii.
Then I'll be like 750 years old. 5 years.
So, hey, it's okay. It's okay.
Just kidding.
All right, Mama. Well, let me
Thank
go
you.
because all
I
these people
love
are going to
you.
kill me. I love you too, sweetheart.
I
Bye bye.
love you.
Bye
Bye.
bye. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Let's see. Okay, let's go to someone else. Let's go to Navreet. Let's go to Navreet. Let's see if Navreet wants to come on. Hello.
Hello.
Hi,
This
sweetheart.
is
How you doing?
I'm great. This is so unexpected.
Oh no, it's fine. You know, it's funny. Right now, like I swear to God, everybody's got the same look going on. So they either have like the dark glasses, which I have my own now, like because I want to be part of the club, or I have my clear ones, like you. So, like it's like in style now, so I have both of them. But I don't have any like eye issues at all. Like I just wear them because these are like the blue light glasses or whatever, like you know, like they protect your eyes from blue lights. But I'm like,
No,
I just
I'm like
feel.
blind as a bat.
Oh, funny. So what did you want to ask me, Mama?
I just want to know like what's up for October, especially in the romantic department.
Romantic, got it. Okay, so what specifically romantically do you want to know?
I just if I'm gonna meet someone or if I'm going to reconnect with someone.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. Reconnecting, no, not in October. You might have an opportunity to reconnect with somebody you were talking to or you were involved with in December, but it may be very short or like literally like nothing. It may feel like
Mhm,
nothing. As
mhm,
far as like romance coming in October, I don't see that. I actually
mhm,
see romance coming in. So it's a little complicated. There's someone that you might meet in April of next year. If it's not April of next year, then it might be April of 2022, but I'm thinking it's
mhm.
maybe next year. Person's name starts with a, I don't know if this is the first name or the last name, but it's like a MCK. I don't know if I'm even grabbing the full thing or if I'm just getting the first part where it's like an
Mhm.
MCK or MK, like it's got that vibe to it. But it comes up, like I said, around the April timeframe. This person works, sorry, because I'm seeing Canada. Where are you right now?
I'm in Canada.
Okay, so this person works for the Canadian government. They work
Oh,
for the national Canadian government. So
mm,
if you're in Canada, this probably makes sense for me why you would be meeting this person there.
mhm,
They have nice body frame. They also wear a like a necklace that's either for a younger sister that passed away
mhm,
or a younger friend that passed away when they were younger. So it's almost
mhm,
kind of a memorial necklace.
mhm.
But you might recognize it when you meet them.
Oh, okay. Nice to know. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Bye,
Thank you.
sweetheart. All right, let's see. Nancy. Let's go to Nancy. Nancy, hi.
Ferny?
Yes.
Get
How
out
you
of
doing,
town.
sweetheart?
No way.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. You're frozen. It's funny because it froze on a really great appearance or look of your face. So, but I can still hear you. But it froze. So I don't know if it's because of
Oh,
where you are in your place or because of the connection.
yeah, I can't really hear you.
Oh,
Oh,
oh. Let's see here. Here, I'm gonna try you back again. I'm gonna hang up and I'm gonna try you back because you're completely frozen, and I want to make sure you're it's coming through. So you might need to switch over
Okay.
to a different network or to a cell network because sometimes that works a little bit better. But I'm gonna call you right back.
Okay, Freddie. Okay.
All right. Let's see. It's funny when she says like, "Okay, Fernie, okay." I'm taken back to when I used to work at Starbucks and I was the manager, and like all my employees or my partners, they'd be like, "Okay, Fernie, all right, all right." Like that way they like, "Okay, I'm going, I'm going." Let's see, where's she? Where are you at, Nancy? Where are you at, Nancy? Come on, Nancy. No, where are you at? Where are you at? Let's see. Looking for you, girl. Looking for you. Where are you at, Miss Thane? All right. If I can't find you right away, I'll move on to somebody else and then I'll come back to you. Let me see. Let me try you one more time. See if it pops up. Okay. There you are. There you are. Perfect. Let's see. Let's see if that fixes it. Hey! Yay! Congratulations!
Yay.
Congratulations!
Thank you so much. It's awesome talking to
Right.
you. Like I'm like starstruck.
Oh, I know people are starting to like get like when I talk to people on like when they have their appointments, they like respond that way. I'm like, okay, it's just me. It's just me. Like, don't let it get to you. Like, just so that way you don't get like caught up in all that. So, what did you want to ask me about?
So two things. The first is about my career. So I'd like to know a little bit more about where I'm
Mhm.
more specific, or I don't
Yep,
know.
you there? Okay, wait. So you cut off for a second. So you said you want to know where? Say that again.
You cutting out, but I wanted. Let me see if I can try a different spot in the house. But use my health.
Oh, there you are. Mhm. Oh, I think it's better. Okay, now you're moving. Now you're moving again. Okay, so you were saying what? So something about your health?
My health and my career, if you can just let me know, like for my health, like the doctors can't really figure out what's going on with my health.
Yeah,
um I've been
yeah.
having
I feel there's two things. I feel first of all, I do think that there's an autoimmune condition that may be part of the issue, and you might actually have to get like specifically tested for that autoimmune condition, or they're not going to pick up on it. Um, it's weird because it feels almost like it may be operating as like I feel like it operates very similar to like a virus, but I don't think it's a virus. I feel like it's a type of condition where it's like when I look at your cells, I feel like something is attaching itself to some of your cells and it's almost like it's pulling and it's almost kind of getting in the way of your blood kind of staying balanced or consistent. And so they may start to see weird levels in different areas of the body, but they may not be able to pinpoint what is causing this. It almost reminds me of like a viral type thing, but I feel like you probably need to go to a specialist. I actually would, what kind of specialist go to? Um, I feel like you need to go to like hemoglobin. What is it? Hemoglobin. God, you might have to look this up because I don't know. Someone that would have an idea of or an understanding of like hemoglobin levels and like how the blood reproduces or how it like replicates and how if there's something going on that's not helping with that, then it affects iron levels. Has their iron been affected in the whole process?
yeah,
Yeah,
actually it's very, very low, my iron, and I've
yeah,
been taking medication, but it's not helping.
yeah.
So
It's almost like if it's like if you were to think of a tick in a cell form. It's like I feel like there are ticks in your body that are like cells that are attached to themselves or condition. Have you been checked for Lyme's disease yet?
no.
Okay. I would ask just to cover your bases to see
Okay.
if there's anything associated with that because I do feel like maybe that might be that it's possible that there's some similarities or they may be able to get closer to understanding it. With
Okay.
that being said, I do think that you're taking 3 medicines right now.
Yes.
Okay. Are any of them injections yet?
Not yet, no.
Did they talk to you about the injections, about having to take these injections every month or two?
Yeah, they actually called me like a couple days ago telling me to take iron injections.
Okay. Once you start the iron injections, that will help to stabilize the situation a little bit. I kind of feel like I don't. And this is kind of weird because I feel like it might pass on its own, like by next spring. But I feel like you're going to do the injections, and that will help to kind of stabilize your condition. And then after that, I think you kind of are good for a while. And then I still think you need to go to a specialist though. So even if you start to feel better, I wouldn't ignore it because I don't want this to come back up down the road, and then you start to have to deal with it again.
So you're thinking it's more blood related than
Yeah,
anything?
yeah. I
Okay.
feel like it reminds me of like a viral issue, but it doesn't feel like a traditional like virus. Like I'm not talking about like COVID or like a flu. I'm talking about like it's like a blood related disease or disorder, but it's
Okay.
brought on by like and I think it's affecting your immune system, and your immune system is starting to crash a little bit, which is why your lymph nodes and swelling is starting up as well. So, but I think it will get better, but they need to address the iron, and I think that will stabilize things enough, and it might
Okay.
just kind of settle down in your system. But you still need to get it checked just to be sure that you know what it is.
It's not thyroid though. You're not seeing
I
any
don't.
thyroid.
No, I don't think so. I do
Okay.
think that your thyroid will be affected, but I don't think the thyroid's the issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what about my career?
Hmm.
So I got laid off
Hmm.
back in March, and I've been looking for work. It's been hard because of COVID and all that stuff going on. So where do you see me headed? I had an interview last week.
Hmm.
I haven't heard back yet. They said they would call me back to let me know either way.
Hmm.
But like at this point, what do you see me doing? Where do you see me headed?
I don't know if you're going to stay at the next job opportunity for very long. I know that you do it for a bit. I keep seeing, it's funny because I wanted to call it legal editing, but I feel like it's underwriting or something that may have to do with like underwriting or I feel like I'm having to go over legal forms and documents or making sure that everything's supposed to look the way it's supposed to look for the financial organization or for the financial thing. So there's something there that kind of feels that way. It almost reminds me of like when someone's having a house and they're closing on a house. There's the underwriting team with the like the closing. What is it? The people who do the closing.
Real estate?
Yeah, not the real estate, but the organization that does the closing. I'm sure people are going to tell me right now what it is, but it's almost like it's something like that. Well, I think it's going to have something to do with like legal editing or legal writing, but it's not like legal writing like I'm a writer and a publisher. It's more like just checking documents or forms or checking to make sure everything is coming in and it's supposed to be the way it's supposed to be. But you don't do that for very long. I don't think you're going to be there past like a year, year and a half. You might just be there for a little bit, and then you'll find something else that's more in your area of expertise. And there may also be an opportunity for a relocation or move at that point, and you may have to make a decision if you are willing to relocate for that opportunity. That opportunity may come out of either Georgia or Chicago, because I feel like there's connections to either Georgia or Chicago with that other opportunity.
Wow. Okay.
Where are you right now? Are you in Texas? Are you in Houston?
I'm in Canada.
Oh, you're in Canada. Okay,
Yeah.
it's in the States. So that opportunity may be in the States, and that may be where that may be where it's going to come out of either Georgia or Chicago. I will lean towards Chicago just because it's closer to the border, so it's possible that may be where it's at. What were you doing before?
So I was working for government, local government, working with their politicians.
Got it. Yeah. No, this is more like I'm checking to make sure that like if we're going to cut this deal or we're going to put this through, I have to go over and make sure everything is exactly how it's supposed to look on paper before we move it to the next entity. But it has something to do with the financial industry or how loans are handled. So there's something there that feels to be connected to that. But that's just the next job. That's not what you're going to stay in. I think you'll end up making a change I think you'll end up making a change after that. So you won't be there for very long.
So I actually just registered for some courses on records management.
Oh,
But
interesting.
is that any value to what you're seeing?
No, not specifically to what you're going to be doing, but that'll help you on the next job.
Okay.
So the job coming up is just like a year, year and a half at the most. And then after that, there will be another job. The records thing will help you with that other job because that's going to come in. And that also has to do with the digital transition because there's a digital transition that's happening with records. And I think you're going to learn a system that's kind of utilizing the new model versus the one that was already in place before.
Right, right. Okay. And then last question is spirit guides or spirits around me.
Mm-hmm. Janine is your spirit guide. I think it's a female. Her name is Janine. She, interestingly enough, it's funny because she's wearing Janine. Janine. It's funny. Do you know those Holland like wooden shoes, like braids? That whole look, like that's what she looks like.
Yeah.
So that's what she looks like she's on on the front of a candy bar or something. Like she looks like that kind of image. But her name is Janine.
Okay. Any messages from her or anything like that?
The only thing she's letting you know is that you need to have a little more fun, and like you tend to like over plan, and you can't plan for everything. This is a lesson in just going with the flow.
Okay. Okay. By the way, you have a doppelganger. One of my best friends looks exactly like you.
Oh, really? I want to see a picture. I've never seen a person that looks exactly like me, so I want to see a picture. So shoot it, send it over to me.
Okay, I'll do
All right,
that.
all right,
Okay.
Mama.
Thanks, Ferny.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Let's see. Let's see who's next. Marisa. Let me bring Marisa on. I know I started to read her earlier, but let me see if I can bring her on because maybe she can confirm what I was saying earlier, or I can help her understand it a little bit more clearly. Hello.
Hey.
How you doing, sweetheart? I'm good, good. Did you understand what I mentioned to you earlier with your sister-in-law?
Okay, so my video froze, so I didn't get to hear everything.
Ah, okay.
But I did hear the part about Three's Company.
Yes. So yeah, because I saw the name Janet in my head and I was trying to figure out, okay, is this Janet like just the name? And then I was thinking of Three's Company and Janet from Three's Company. So it's like, okay, what are we talking about here? So I don't know if there's a Three Amigos thing or there's something about like the three of us or there's a reference to Three's Company or that. So there's a reference there. Either that or the names are connected because she was acknowledging that. She also keeps referencing thank you. She did show me, I feel like happy hour. That's what I was talking about, happy hour. Did you get that part about like she's like wanting to have a good time or just like she is like wanting to party?
See, I've never met her, but that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
She was murdered.
Okay.
And we have a parole hearing.
Don't have it anymore. Doesn't have it anymore. So let me kind of switch my brain up here a little bit. That now I know what she's talking about, the Three's Company. So Three's Company meaning that there's three people involved, or there's something about three people being associated with the situation, but only one person will be the person that may be involved with the actual like passing, or may be kind of, I won't say responsible, but made to be a bit more accountable is how I want to put it, because she's acknowledging that way. She also keeps, thank you. Trump charge. So I have a friend who was killed, and they couldn't get the person that caused the accident for the full charge. So what they did was they worked around a different charge that technically would have still applied or would still work. Do you know if the way that they're handling this, or they're going off of some sort of like a technical charge that may not be specifically like manslaughter or murder? It may be something else that's like a technical charge.
He was charged. He was convicted of murder.
Mm-hmm.
He's been released on parole, and he got new charges. So he's now back, and now this is a parole hearing.
Got it. The charges, were they like, they weren't murder, right? They were just like technical things that like breaking the parole. That's it. That's what she's talking about, because she's trying to acknowledge him getting in trouble for the technicality of the charge. That's what she's talking about. Okay. So she's acknowledging that or making reference to that. She also keeps referencing thank you. She's also showing me, do you know if someone made a heart in the dirt, or someone made a heart out of roses or flower petals or something? Because she's showing me someone, I feel like I'm looking at a heart on the ground. So there's a reference there that she's making a reference to. Do you know if there's anything like that that was done for her, that was put in the place that this happened?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Okay, I'll leave that with you. She also keeps thinking there's a white dog that's there as well. Do you know of a white dog that passed away? Because she's letting you know that the white dog is there.
No.
It's a lighter colored dog, so it's a white dog or a beigey dog, and it also is like it's a little Pomeranian, but it's like a lighter colored Pomeranian little dog, and it would have been connected to the family, either your family or her family. But she's referencing the small dog that's also there as well. She also keeps referencing thank you. Were y'all having to get the signatures? Because she's talking about having to get all the signatures.
Yes. Well, letters. What about letters?
Because she's acknowledging like getting people to like sign off and to like, and she's doing this, so she's doing me a heads up. She says it's not about her, it's about the people that never got justice for this, because she says she wasn't the first.
Oh, that's yeah.
Yeah. So she says her passing was almost like the facilitator to finally bring his situation, but she says that there were others, because she's acknowledging that, including a child. So there was a Yeah, so she's just acknowledging that. Do you also know if he was part of the sex offenders list, or he was? Um,
No, because it happened in the 80s, because they didn't do the DNA back then, but they think that yes.
okay, because she's
Yeah.
just acknowledging there was a whole lot more to that, and that this just she says this is going to help a lot of people and keep people safe. So she's making me feel confident or positive about it. Also,
Perfect.
he's got enemies. He's got a lot of enemies. And I think, especially in the system, he's got a lot of enemies. So he may not be going back into a very hospitable environment.
Okay. I mean,
She's also singing happy birthday, but she's talking about November. Is there a birthday in November? Or an
mm,
anniversary date in November? Because she's acknowledging a significant date in November. It would be
no,
around the 7th or the 8th.
not November. I don't know anything in November.
Is there a Whitney or a Wendy or a Whitney name connection? Not to her, to you.
Whitney or Wendy? No.
Whitney or Wendy or there's
Can I
a. Go ahead.
can I help you?
Oh
Maybe what about Remy?
no, no. That's that would be an. This is like a W. There's a female in spirit. She's acknowledging that's like Whitney or Wendy or could be Wanda, but I want to say it's W. She passed away from a drunk driving accident or a drunk driving situation. She's also she's showing me a college. Do you know of a female who passed away who went to school or that you may have known through the grapevine at school?
No.
Is there a connection to Northwestern or to like a North something university? There's something there. You might need to ask. You might need to ask your husband.
Okay.
There's something there because there's too much disconnected that there has to be something there because it's almost like too much that is not fitting in with the sister. But there's a reference to this other female, so she's wanting to acknowledge this other female being there. But there are these elements that are piecing together. It's definitely not an older female. It's not an old lady. It's not like a child either. So it would be around the same age range. But this female would have passed from a drunk driving incident or an event and would be somehow connected. And I'm seeing university or school, so either this happened at a university or school, or this is a connection through a university or school.
Okay.
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 You might have to think about that. Yeah, it's a bit, yeah. Also your grandma, your mom's one has also passed, correct?
Yes.
Okay. She is the one that's been sending the butterflies. So when you experience butterflies, that's coming from her. She also says she's very proud of you. She also says that your mom should be proud of you too. She also says that you are doing more than you need to be doing. So she says, don't be worried. She says, you're a good person. She says, you don't have to worry. You're a good person. So she wants to make sure you understand that. Okay. Okay. All right, sweetheart. By the way, I don't know if there's a necklace that's like a heart or a necklace that's a pearl or it's opening something. Do you know there's a connection to that with grandma? Okay.
No.
You might need to ask or look into it because it feels like it's opening and I don't know if it's white like a pearl and it opens or it's like a heart and like a locket and it opens, but there's something there that she's making reference to.
Okay.
Okay. All right, sweetheart. You take care of yourself.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, guys, I am out of time and my timer is about to go down. So I'm gonna answer one more right here, one more right here, one more right here, just because. Let's see. Ooh, I might not have enough time. Elizabeth Lozano, hi, is my business going to work out for me? I feel like you need to do more advertising, and I think that may make things a little bit better. I also think that you might be able to partner up with somebody temporarily. It might be another female. It's a temporary, I would consider it a temporary like partnership, and then after that, I feel like it only to like help you to the next stage. But I still think you need to kind of work for yourself. But to answer your question, I do think it will work, but you're going to have to make some adjustments there. Okay, over here. Come on, Harry, Ferny. Cindy. Hi, Ferny. Do you see a change in my career? Thank you. The only change I see is a different location or a different facility. It actually reminds me of like whenever a company buys another company or like a company purchases another company or all of its interests, and then they start to like restructure. So you might be dealing with a situation in the next 6 months where there's a restructuring going on because one company is merging with another, or one entity is going into another entity, and then there's got to be kind of this like coordination there. So, all right, guys, we're working on. So this is a study group. For those of you who want readings, I will be back on here on Friday doing readings. For those of you who are still wanting readings, so you can come back on Friday. Today is Friday. Oh my God, Fernie, get it together. Back up. I will be back next Wednesday for readings. Tomorrow is our podcast day, so we're doing podcasts tomorrow. But yeah, so I'll be back next Wednesday for readings on here. But we're doing the study group, so that's what we're doing now. So for those of you who've been following along, we are reading Many Lives, Many Masters. It's just going to be me today because Kendall bailed because he says he had something more important. He says that there were things more important than me in his life. So that's what he said. So, and Michelle, I didn't just even want to ask Michelle because, you know, she's like trying to get a handle of the school situation or school business. So I'm like, I'm going to give her a break. So I thought I can read myself. I can totally do my own my own reading here. So I'm going to start to read where we left off last time. And I may stop a few times to kind of discuss some things with you guys. I'm going to try to get through 2 chapters because the first one is not that long. And we're already halfway through. So, but I think that like halfway through the book is when the good juicy stuff starts to happen. So that's what that's about. Okay. If you have any questions around like reincarnation or like the book Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian Weiss, it's right there. I know it's backwards, but that's what we're reading. You can go ahead and post it and I'll look and see if any of y'all have any questions. But that's what we're doing, guys. So, all right. So let me start here. And the last time we left off, his patient was already starting to like recover a lot. There was a lot of recovery happening for her, and he was still regressing her and putting her into a state of hypnosis to bring up her past lives, but he was also wanting to get her to talk about the masters because that's what he was more interested in, is the messages from the masters. And every time she dies in a lifetime, her spirit being goes into another state, and she goes to a place that there are these ascended masters or master spirits that exist that give her advice or that tell her, and they actually start to talk through her to him, to Mr. Weiss, Dr. Weiss, trying to help him understand some things that he needs to know about when it comes to like humanity, why we're here, what we're here to do, etc. So I love this book. I really believe that everybody should read this book because it totally like was a game changer for me back when I was younger. So all right. So if you don't already know about the format of the book, like he will be talking for some time and then he starts to go into like a session where he's having that conversation with her and then she's talking back or explaining what she's going through. So they'll have that back and forth, and I'll do my best to kind of keep it back and forth like that. Yeah, so 3 weeks passed before our next session. On my vacation lying on a tropical beach, I had the time and distance to reflect on what had transpired with Catherine. Hypnotic regression to past lives with detailed observations and explanations about objects, processes, and facts, which she had no knowledge of in her normal waking state. Improvement in her symptoms through the regressions, improvement not evenly remotely achieved by conventional psychotherapy over the first 18 months of treatment. Chillingly accurate revelations from the after-death spiritual state conveying knowledge she had no access to, spiritual poetry, and lessons about the dimensions after death, about life and death, birth and rebirth, from master spirits who spoke with a wisdom and in a style well beyond Catherine's capabilities. There was indeed a lot to contemplate. Over the years, I had treated many hundreds, perhaps thousands of psychiatric patients, and they reflected the entire spectrum of emotional disorders. I had directed inpatient units at 4 major medical schools. I had spent years in psychiatric emergency rooms, outpatient clinics, and various other settings, evaluating and treating outpatients. I knew all about the auditory and visual hallucinations and the delusions of schizophrenia. I had treated many patients with borderline syndromes and hysterical character disorders, including split or multiple personalities. I had been a career teacher in drug and alcohol abuse, funded by the National Institute of Drug Abuse, NIDA, and I was very familiar with the gamut of drug effects on the brain. Catherine had none of these symptoms or syndromes. What had occurred was not a manifestation of psychiatric illness. She was not psychotic, not out of touch with reality, and she had never suffered from hallucinations, seeing or hearing things not actually there, or delusions, false beliefs. She did not use drugs, and she had no sociopathic traits. She did not have a hysterical personality, and she did not have dissociative tendencies. That is, she was generally aware of what she was doing and thinking, did not function on automatic pilot, and had never had any split or multiple personalities. The material she produced was often beyond her conscious capabilities in both style and content. Some of it was particularly psychic, such as the references to specific events and facts from my own past, e.g., the knowledge about my father and my son, as well as from her own. She had knowledge that she had never had access to or accumulated in her past life. This knowledge, as well as the whole experience, was alien to her culture and upbringing and contrary to many of her beliefs. Catherine is a relatively simple and honest person. She is not a scholar, and she could not have invented the facts, details, historical events, descriptions, and poetry that came through her. As a psychiatrist, a scientist, I was certain that the material originated from some portion of her unconscious mind. It was real, beyond any doubt. Even if Catherine, she could not have recreated these happenings. The knowledge was too accurate and too specific. Beyond her capacity, without any medicine. There is so much powerful curative force in this realm, a force apparently much more. Okay, I think I'm back. I don't know what happened. I think I got disconnected. So I'm back, y'all, though. I'm back. I'm still here. So sorry about the craziness there. Going back to what I was talking about here. So I'm going to make sure y'all are getting back in here. Can y'all see me? Can y'all give me a thumbs up or give me a heart so I can likes? Yes? No? Yes? No? Okay, I'm going to assume yes. I'm going to assume y'all can still see me in here. Okay, thank you, Barb. Thank you. Okay, so back to what I was talking about. So I pondered the therapeutic purpose of exploring Catherine's past lives. Once we had stumbled into this new realm, her improvement was dramatically rapid, without any medicine. There is some powerful curative force in this realm, a force apparently much more effective than conventional therapy or modern medicines. The force includes remembering and reliving not just momentous traumatic events, but also the daily insults to our bodies, minds, and egos. In my questions, as we scanned lifetimes, I was looking for the patterns of these insults. The patterns such as chaotic emotional or physical abuse, poverty and starvation, illness and handicaps, persistent persecution and prejudice, repeated failures, and so on. I also kept an eye out for those more piercing tragedies such as the traumatic death experience, rape, mass catastrophe, or any other horrifying event that might leave a permanent imprint. The technique was similar to reviewing a childhood in conventional therapy, except that the time frame was several thousand years rather than the usual 10 or 15 years. Therefore, my questions were more direct and more leading than the conventional therapy. But the success of our unorthodox exploration was unquestionable. She, and others I later would treat with hypnotic regression, was being cured with tremendous rapidity. But were there other explanations for Catherine's past life memories? Could the memories be carried in her genes? This possibility is scientifically remote. Genetic memory requires the unbroken passage of genetic material from generation to generation. Catherine lived all over the earth, and her genetic line was interrupted. Due to. Okay, it says it's back. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the issue is with the connection here. So let me see. Okay, it says everything is okay. So if it pauses again, I'm going to keep going. Yeah, I'm just going to wait till it gets back in order. Where was I? Yeah. So what about Jung's idea of the collective unconscious and a reservoir of all human memory and experience that could somehow be tapped into? Divergent cultures often contain similar symbols, even in dreams. According to Jung, the collective unconscious was not personally acquired by the acquired but inherited somehow in the brain structure. It includes motives and images that spring anew in every culture without relying upon historical tradition or dissemination. I thought Catherine's memories were too specific to be explained by Jung's concept. She did not reveal symbols and universal images or motives. She related detailed descriptions of specific people and places. Jung's ideas seemed too vague, and there was still the in-between state to consider. All in all, reincarnation made the most sense. Catherine's knowledge was not only detailed and specific, but also beyond her conscious capacity. She knew things that could not be gleaned from a book and then temporarily forgotten. Her knowledge could not have been acquired in her childhood and then similarly suppressed or repressed from the consciousness. And you have to understand that this was back in like the 70s or like early 80s, before the internet was even like a thing. So like back then, like if you were going to go and like spy on someone or go like, you couldn't Google anybody. You had to take your ass over to the library. You had to know what you were looking for, and then you had to be very meticulous about the material you were looking through. So it's really hard to kind of find those kinds of details in that time frame. Now, today you can Google anybody, so it's whatever is whatever. But back then it wasn't so easy to look people up, and so this was happening in a time when that wasn't so easy, and it's harder to come by details. I actually think, to this day, I think that it's easier. It would have been easier to be a psychic back then than to be a psychic today, because today, like I said, you can Google anybody and everybody, and a lot of people just automatically assume, oh yeah, psychics, they all Google people, and that's what they do. Well, yeah, but what were they doing before that? Psychics have existed for hundreds of years, for centuries. So this is not like a new thing for people. But people always, assume that. And that's true. Psychics can go and look you up. Psychics can go and like find your information online, and they can tell a lot about you, which is why you really have to like focus on like finding people. Like if you're going to go to a psychic, you don't have to come to me. But if you go to a psychic, you want to go by reviews and by their reputation, because that says a lot about a person if they are able to do this so often, so consistently. You can't Google everybody up. Not everybody is on social media. So you can't Google everybody up. And there's, that's always going to be an argument. People are always going to use that as an argument, period. You have to go with psychics and sensitives and people like myself, where we try to operate from a place of integrity instead of like just, okay, well, I'm a psychic, but then they're like looking your ass up. Like, I actually had that happen to me once, where I had made an appointment with a psychic, and when you would call my number, you would get the voicemail, and the voicemail would basically tell you like, hey, if you're calling to make an appointment, you need to go to my website, www.fernandamoron.com. And so she called me at the time of the appointment. It went to voicemail by accident, and instead of trying to call me back, she went and looked me up online. And after that, like when I called her back, she was like, I was wondering, she's like, I thought you maybe forgot your appointment. Of course I had to go look you up because of your website. And I was like, why would you do that? Like, you're a psychic. Like, you're like, this is my first like reading with you. Why would you go look me up? Like, that's the one thing you don't go do. You need to operate from a sense of like morals and like have a sense of decency here. And like, that's not something that you're supposed to do. Like, you need to just read me, and then I can fill you in on whatever, but don't go look me up, girl. Like, what are you doing? And so I kind of like was not happy at all at that point, because she basically just gave away. And everything she was saying during the reading, she was saying had to do with my background, or with all this like being front loaded with all this information about me. And I would have preferred her to just like interpret it to the best of her ability without knowing all of that stuff about me, because I feel like it just contaminated what she was sensing. And I was like, eh. So, and then she called me. I called her out on it. I said, like, that's something you don't do. Like, if you're a psychic, you don't, if someone is dangling like a website of the person and all their shit on that website, you don't go looking them up. You just don't do that, right? You kind of need to operate from an ethical standpoint. And so I called her out on it and told her, like, that's just not something that you do. Like, you need to just... And she called me an ugly person, and I was an ugly soul, because I called her out on, like, going to look me up. So I'm like, okay, girl. Anyways, back to this, because I was going on a tangent there. So he was talking about Catherine, and how, like, looking up his stuff and all that other stuff. Oh, okay. And so her knowledge could not have been acquired in her childhood and then similarly suppressed or repressed from consciousness. And what about the masters and their messages? This came through Catherine, but was not of Catherine. And their wisdom was also reflected in Catherine's memories of lifetimes. I knew that this information and these messages were true. I knew this not only from many years of careful study of people, their minds and brains and personalities, but I also knew this intuitively. Even before the visit from my father and my son, my brain with its years of careful scientific training knew this, and my bones also knew. And now Catherine's going, so now he's about to channel Catherine, or about to bring Catherine through. So this is Catherine. I see pots with some type of oil in them. Despite the 3-week hiatus, Catherine had quickly lapsed into a deep trance. She was enmeshed in another body in another time. There are different oils in the pots. It seems to be some type of storehouse or some place where they store things. The pots are red, made out of some type of red earth. They have blue bands around them, blue bands around the top. I see men there. There are men in the cave. They're moving the jars and the pots around, sacking them up and putting them in a certain area. Their heads are shaved. They have no hair on their heads. Their skin is brown skin. Are you there? Yes, I'm sealing up some of the jars with some type of wax, sealing the tops of the jars with the wax. Do you know what the oils are used for? I don't know. Do you see yourself? Look at yourself. Tell me what you look like. She paused as she observed herself. I have a braid. There's a braid in my hair. I have some type of long material garment on. It has a gold border around the outside. Do you work for these priests or the men with the shaved heads? It is my job to seal the jars with the wax. That's my job. But you don't know what the jars are used for? They appear to be used in some religious ritual, but I'm not sure what it is. There's some anointing, something on the heads, something on your heads and your hands. Your hands. I see a bird, a gold bird that's around my neck. It's flat. It has a flat tail, a very flat tail, and its head is pointing down to my feet. To your feet? Yes, that's the way it must be worn. There's a black sticky substance. I don't know what it is. Where is it? It's in a marble container. They use that too, but I don't know what for. Is there anything in the cave for you to read so that you can tell me the name of the country, the place where you live, or the date? There's nothing on the walls. They're empty. I do not know the name. I progressed her in time. There's a white jar, some type of white jar. The handle on the top is gold, some type of gold inlay on it. What is the jar? Some type of ointment. It has something to do with the passage into the other world. Are you the person to be passing now? No, it is no one I know. Is this your job too, to prepare people for this passage? No, the priests must do that, not me. We just keep them supplied with the ointments, the incense. About how old do you appear to be now? 16. Are you living with your parents? Yes. A stone house, some type of stone dwelling. It's not very large. It's very hot and dry. The climate is very hot. Go to your house. I'm there. Do you see other people around in your family? I see a brother, and my mother is there, and a baby, somebody's baby. Is that your baby? No. What is significant now? Go to something significant that explains your symptoms in your current lifetime. We need to understand. It is safe to experience it. Go to the events. She answered in a very soft whisper. Everything in time. I see people dying. People dying? Yes. They don't know what it is. An illness. Suddenly it dawned on me that she was again touching on an ancient lifetime, one that she had regressed to previously. In that lifetime, a water-borne plague had killed Catherine's father and one of her brothers. Catherine had also suffered from the illness, but she had not died from it. The people used garlic and other herbs to try to ward off the plague. Catherine had been upset because the dead were not being properly embalmed. But now we had approached that lifetime from a different angle. Does it have something to do with the water? I asked. They believe so. Many people are dying. I already knew the ending. But you don't die not from this? No, I don't die. But you get sick? You become ill? Yes, I'm very cold, very cold. I need water. Water. They think it comes from the water. And something black. Someone dies. Who dies? My father dies. And one brother dies also. My mother is okay. She recovers. She's very weak. They must bury the people. They must bury them. And people are upset because it's against religious practices. What was the practice? I marveled at the consistency of her recall, fact for fact, exactly as she had recounted the lifetime several months ago. Again, this deviation from the normal burial customs greatly upset her. People were put in caves. The bodies were kept in caves. But first, the bodies had to be prepared by the priests. They must be wrapped and anointed. They were kept in caves, but the land is flooding. They say the water is bad. Don't drink the water. Is there a way of treating it? Did anything work? We were given herbs, different herbs, the odors, the herbs, and the smell, the odor. I can smell it. Do you recognize the smell? It's white. They hang it from the ceiling. It's like garlic. It's hung around. The properties are similar. Yes, its properties. You put it in your mouth, your ears, your nose, everywhere. The odor was strong. It was believed to block the evil spirits from entering your body. Purple. fruit or something round with purple covering, purple skin to it. Do you recognize the culture that you're in? Does it seem familiar? I don't know. Is the purple a fruit of some sort? Tannis. Would that help you? Is that for the illness? It was at the time. Tannis. I repeated again, trying to see if she was talking about what we refer to as tannin or tannic acid. Is that what they called it, tannis? I keep hearing tannis. What in this lifetime has buried itself in your current lifetime? Why do you keep coming back here? Why is it that is so uncomfortable? The religion, Catherine quickly whispered. The religion of the time. It was a religion of fear. Fear. There were so many things to fear and so many gods. Do you remember the names of any gods? I see eyes. I see a black, some type of, it looks like a jackal. He's in a statue. He's a guardian of some type. I see a woman, a goddess, with some type of a headpiece on. Do you know her name, the goddess? Osiris. Cyrus. Something like that. I see an eye, just an eye on a chain. It's gold. An eye? Yes. Who is Hathor? What? Hathor. Who is that? I have never heard of Hathor, although I knew that Osiris, if the pronunciation was accurate, was the brother husband of Isis, a major Egyptian deity. Hathor, I later learned, was the Egyptian goddess of love, mirth, and joy. It is one of the gods. I asked. Repeating that. Is it one of the gods? I asked. Hathor. There was a long pause. Bird. He's flat, a phoenix. She was silent again. Go ahead in time now to your final day in that lifetime. Go to your final day, but before you have died, tell me what you see. She answered in a very soft whisper. I see people and buildings. I see sandals. There is a rough cloth, some type of rough cloth. What happens? Go to the time of your dying now. What happens to you? You can see it. I do not see it. I don't see me anymore. Where are you? What do you see? Nothing, just darkness. I see a light, a warm light. She had already died, already passed over to the spirit state. Apparently, she did not need to experience her actual death again. Can you come to the light? I asked. I am going. She was resting peacefully, waiting again. Can you look back now on the lessons of that lifetime? Are you aware of them yet? No, she whispered. She continued to wait. Suddenly, she appeared alert, although her eyes remained closed as they always did when she was in a hypnotic trance. Her head was turning from side to side. What are you seeing now? What's happening? Her voice was louder. I feel someone's talking to me. What do they say? Talking about patience. One must have patience. Yes, go on. The answer came from the poet master. Patience and timing. Everything comes when it must come. A life cannot be rushed, cannot be worked on a schedule, as so many people want it to be. We must accept what comes to us as a given time and not repeat that. We must accept what comes to us at a given time and not ask for more. But life is endless, so we never die. We're never really born. We just pass through different phases. There is no end. Humans have many dimensions, but time is not as we see it, but rather in lessons that are learned. There was a long pause. The poet master continued. Everything will be clear to you in time, but you must have a chance to digest the knowledge that we have given to you already. Catherine was silent. Is there more I should learn? I asked. They've gone, she softly whispered. I don't hear anybody. All right, so let's stop there for a second. If y'all want to ask anything about the book or anything about the situation that's going on here with Catherine and Dr. Weiss and the past life memories that she's having, I'm open to questions right now. See if you want to ask there. Hey, Sophia. So let me go. I'm going to go through here and I'm going to see what y'all have had to say to make sure that I cover some of your questions here, because y'all are basically the communication at this point. So, yeah, Barbie. I'm sorry, Barbie. Yes, we are in chapter. That was chapter 8, and now we're on 9. And that's where we are at. You're like, I'm only on chapter 4. Oh, girl, we've like gone through like those chapters already. So if you want to go back to the other videos, I have those videos as well on my Instagram, so you can go through them as well. Let's see. Someone's asked, how often do you think psychics do this, where they look you up? I honestly don't know. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I told him that I felt that a majority of the psychics in this, and I know a lot of people are going to like have this, they're going to react to me because they're going to be like, what? Why are you talking shit? Like, this is just a reality from my experience. A lot of the psychics in the industry are either they're just working off of a heightened level of intuition, which isn't really psychic sensing, or they're actually frauds and they're not actually psychic, and they're just using anything and everything they can do to be able to tell you something. But I honestly feel that because it's been my experience in dealing with psychics and seeing psychics. I've actually only encountered true authentic psychics on very few occasions. Some of the psychics who are psychics, but they're just operating off of a high level of intuition, they're very generalized in their impressions, or they're very generalized in what they're saying. So I really don't feel that there are as many psychics, like authentic psychics out there as people want to believe. Okay. And granted, there may be people who are actually psychic, but that doesn't mean that they're operating from an ethical standpoint, because there's a lot of unethical psychics out there who are doing this stuff. Thank you, Refined. Love the hair. Thank you. Questions. Oatmeal. Ferny, have you read any other of Dr. Weiss's books? Any other recommendations? Yeah, I've actually read, I think, a majority of his books, because he's got Many Lives, Many Masters. There's and then there's also Messages from the Masters, which is kind of like a condensed version of all of some of the books that he wrote, with some messages being highlighted. And there's Many Lives, Future Healing, or there's some book like that as well. I have them all back there. I have to go looking for them. And that one is interesting because they basically, through some of the work that they used to do with people when they held lectures, Dr. Weiss and some of the lectures that they used to hold around the country, they would put people in mass, in groups, they would put them through a hypnosis regression, taking them back to a past life. And then after they were done, they had to write down what they experienced, but they couldn't talk to anybody. And so they would collect the information, and then they would look at what everybody was saying. And people, when they would progress people out like 5, 10, 15, 25, 50 years, 100 years, when you go further out, more people had consensus, meaning that more people's ideas or more people's experiences of the future lives, because we can go into the future lives as well. It's not just the past lives. But when you take people into their future lives, a lot of the people past the 50-year mark were having very similar experiences for what the world was going to look like and what we were going to be doing as people on this planet. When you start to come in within a 50 year period, that's when there was a loss of consensus, that there was too many variables, there's too many different opinions about what people thought was going to happen, and it just changed when you got closer to our current time zone, which just makes sense, because you have to think of this moment in time, or this moment in experience, as kind of like a tunnel effect, because we are creating our reality in current moment, in current time. And so time doesn't really exist, only our perception of one moment to the next. That's what time is. And so time doesn't really exist. All things exist simultaneously, past, present, future. All parallel universes exist simultaneously. That's enough to blow your head up. But we are just in a moment where we are kind of bringing in like a vortex, bringing in the current present moment. And so in order for that moment to exist, a lot of variables, a lot of things had to happen. And so when they would progress people forward in time, going past a certain period, there was more consensus because more of the variables were more lined up with each other. But the closer we are to the current moment, there's so many different variations of what could happen that it would get a little bit jumbled up. It's really interesting when you start to go into all of that. Oh, I saw Barb. I found you on chapter 8. Hey, Top Dog. So let's see. I went... Linda Ratcliffe. I went on a huge spiritual need this past spring and lost lots of money. Then I found you and started following you, and I believe you is the real shit and want to learn from your lessons. I appreciate that. Thank you for that. I honestly try to be as as honest as possible, or as authentic as possible. I can't say that I'm going to be like 100% psychic accuracy, because no psychic has that level of accuracy. I think the best psychics probably are into 70s or 80s range when it comes to accuracy range, and it's not like people are posting, which is interesting because it's something I'm going to do. I plan on posting on my website every single public prediction that I've made since I started doing this professionally, and then I'm going to show you if I got it right or I got it wrong. There's going to be several there that I got wrong. There's also going to be several there that I got very right and very specifically right. And so it's not about whether you can get every single prediction or every single thing correct and you're that accurate. That no psychic is that accurate. People have this really weird misconception, and I don't know who started this or when this started, that psychics and mediums and sensitives, that like we automatically know everything, we see everything, and like we're infallible, and like we know the answer to every single problem on the planet, and we can read every single thing that's going on in your mind, and like we are downloaded every single thing about your life from the moment you were conceived to the moment you died. Like that doesn't work that way. I don't know what psychic operates that way. No psychic operates that way. I don't even remember my own crap from last week. I don't know how I'm supposed to download all your crap in my head and then hold that within my head while I'm doing like a 5-minute connect. Like this is not realistic, y'all. The way it works is, psychics and mediums and sensitives, we do not know everything. We do not see everything. We sense things, and that's the biggest difference. And I think that's the one thing that I'm trying to change, because I think that there's a lot of opportunities to use authentic real psychics in a lot of different organizations and businesses, whether it's from business or with police officers finding missing people, etc. There's a lot of different applications that this can be used in to help humanity, to help ourselves. And I think that the idea and the stigma that we're like these magicians, or we're like gypsies, or that we are looking people up, or all of these, and that we are supposed to know everything, and if we say something and it's not right, that means we're false and we're not real psychics, and that's not true. We do not know everything, so I don't know where everybody got that. And I tell people, like, as soon as I do a reading for someone, I tell them exactly like, hey, this is what I do, this is who I am, this is how it works, this is what it isn't. If that works for you, we're good. Let's move forward with the next part of the reading, and then I'll do a reading. But I try to be straight up front with people, because I don't like people to pretend like they know everything. And you'll get a lot of that in the industry. Psychics that pretend like they already know everything, or they see everything, etc. And then, of course, when you ask them a question, or when you call them out in that moment, they freeze up, or they can't answer the question correctly. I mean, it's just the reality of the situation. But we sense things. We don't know everything. So it's about me sensing detail and figuring out what it is that I'm sensing, and trying to be as accurate in my description and my expression of that information as possible, because that's what's going to bring the accuracy. A lot of psychics like to storytell. They'll mix a lot of their own crap in there. And then when they tell you your story, like, you're going to be a great princess, and you're going to do this, and you're going to meet your soulmate, and y'all are going to be happy to. That's a story. Like that's not reality. I don't do that, because there's a lot of mixed crap in there that has nothing to do with the person. I focus on the details, and if you can grab enough details in your sensing, you can pretty much make a really great guess as far as what might happen or what's going to go on. Okay. Hey guys, by the way, I'm not doing readings, so if you're coming on here asking me to read you or whatever, not going to happen, because that was in the last hour. This is our study group time, so we're doing a study group thing. So sorry about it. Let's see. We're talking about the book, by the way, so that's the questions that I'm answering. If any of you want to come on, and I love this book, very interesting. I learned a great deal from reading it. If one of you wants to come on, hey Rashadu, and ask me about the book or talk about this for a second, I can bring one of you on before I try to start the next chapter. Let's see. Hey Jennifer. My cousin's on here. She's like, what is he doing on there? I'm reading a book, Jennifer. We are doing our study group, and I'm reading a book. So we're doing this book here. We do it every Friday. We have a study group on Wednesdays and on Fridays. So on Wednesdays, we do the Many Lives, Many Masters. On Fridays, on Wednesdays, we do A Course in Miracles. On Fridays, we do Many Lives, Many Masters. Because it's my way of trying to like give people a chance to learn the same material that I learned, because, you can't develop spiritually unless you do the work. And this is my way of doing the work. So, okay. All right. So I'm not seeing any questions. Okay. So I'm going to jump over to the next chapter. So I'm going to go ahead and start that one up. because we're almost done. We're getting to the finish line here. Then I'm going to start my next book for the next series. This is chapter 9. Each week, another layer of neurotic fears and anxieties was stripped away from Catherine. Each week, she appeared a bit more serene, a bit softer, and more patient. She was more confident, and people were drawn to her. Catherine felt more loving, and others gave love back to her. The inner diamond that was her true personality was shining brightly for all to see. Catherine's regressions spanned millennia. Each time she entered a hypnotic trance, I had no idea where the threads of her lives would emerge. From prehistoric caves to ancient Egypt to modern times, she had been there, and all of her lives had been lovingly overseen somewhere beyond time by the masters. In today's session, she emerged in the 20th century, but not as Catherine. I see a fuselage and an airstrip, some kind of airstrip, she whispered softly. Do you know where it is? I can't see. Alcyon. Then more definitively, Alcyon. In France? I hope I said that correctly. I don't know, just Alcyon. Oh, Alsatian. I think it's Alsatian. Alsatian. I see the name Von Marx. Von Marx, phonetic. Some type of brown helmet. A hat. A hat with goggles on it. The troop has been destroyed. It appears to be a very remote area. I don't think there's a town nearby. What do you see? I see buildings destroyed. I see buildings. The land is torn up from the bombings. There's a very well hidden area. What are you doing? I'm helping them with the wounded. They're carrying them away. Look at yourself. Describe yourself. Look down and see what you're wearing. I have some type of jacket on. I have blonde hair. I have blue eyes. My jacket is very dirty. There are many wounded people. Are you trained to help with the wounded? No. Do you live there or were you brought there? Where do you live? I don't know. About how old are you? 35. Catherine herself was 29, and she had hazel eyes, not blue. I continued the questioning. Do you have a name? Is it on the jacket? There are wings on the jacket. I'm a pilot, some type of pilot. You fly airplanes? Yes, I do. I have to. Who makes you fly? I'm in service to fly. That's my job. Do you drop the bombs too? We have a gunner on the plane. There's a navigator. What kind of plane do you fly? Some type of chopper plane. It has 4 propellers. It's a fixed wing. I was amused because Catherine knew nothing about airplanes. I wondered what she would think fixed wing meant. But like the making of butter or the embalming of the deceased under hypnosis, she possessed a vast storehouse of knowledge. Only a fraction of this knowledge, however, was available to her everyday conscious mind. I pressed on. Do you have a family? They are not with me. Are they safe? I don't know. I'm afraid. Afraid they will come back. My friends are dying. Who are you afraid will come back? The enemy? Who are they? The English? The American Armed Forces? The English? Yes, do you remember your family? Remember it, there's too much confusion. Let's go back in the same lifetime, back to a happier time before the war. The time with your family back at home. You can see that. I know it's hard, but I want you to relax, try and remember. Catherine paused, then whispered, I hear the name Eric. Eric, I see a blonde-haired child, a girl. Is that your daughter? Yes, it must be Margot. Is she close to you? She's with me. We're on a picnic. The day is beautiful. Is anyone else there with you besides Margot? I see a woman with brown hair sitting on the grass. Is she your wife? Yes. I don't know her. she added, referring to a recognition of someone in Catherine's present life. And what she's talking about then, what he's making reference to, because, you know, this is what I talk about with people, where I say that sometimes the people in our lives reincarnate with us. So, like, for example, my grandfather in this lifetime may have actually been, he was actually one of my master teachers in one of my other past lifetimes. We weren't family. He was just like my teacher. He was responsible for, you know, the work that he was doing, and I was the apprentice. So in that lifetime, even though we weren't family, we had a lifetime together in that way. Same thing with my cousin Jennifer, who was on a few minutes ago, where she, in one of my past lives, she was actually my husband, and I was the wife. And so, like, when we were kids, we used to play Barbie. I was always Barbie, and she was always Ken. And we used to play like we were married, like little kids, which is interesting because we both, you know, would associate with that. But we tended to remember some things or take on some of the aspects of our previous lifetimes. So, going back to this. Do you know Margot? Look at Margot closely. Do you know her? Yes, but I'm not sure how. I knew her from somewhere. It will come to you. Look into her eyes. It's Judy, she answered. Judy was presently Catherine's best friend. There had been an instant rapport at their first meeting, and they had become true friends, implicitly trusting each other, knowing the other's thoughts and needs before they were verbalized, which is interesting because I remember there are several people in my life that I've met where as soon as I met them or started to talk to them, there was almost like a recognition, like, I know you. I don't know how I know you, but I know you. And actually, a lot of people tell me that, which is funny because even though I may not know all of my clients or know every single person that I've talked to, every now and then I've run into a client where I'm like, I've recognized them or I feel like I know them. And I'm pretty sure it's because I've had a past life connection with them. But there's a lot of clients, interesting enough, that they'll come back and they'll tell me when they have their session, they're like, you seemed familiar. Like when I saw you, it was almost like there was something that I knew about you, or there's something like I recognized you, but I didn't know who you were. And so I was like, yeah, I get it. And it's probably because there have been prior lifetimes where I've been in a capacity where I've tried to reach a lot of people or try to connect with a large grouping of people. And those may be those lifetimes where I, just happened to interact with these people or connect with them, and they felt that connection immediately. So, thoughts and needs before they were verbalized. Judy, I repeated. Yes, Judy. She looks like her. She smiles like her. Yes, that's good. Are you happy at home, or are there problems? There are no problems. Yes, it is a time of unrest. There's a problem deep in the German government, the political structure. Too many people want to move in too many directions. It will eventually tear us apart, but I must fight for my country. Do you have strong feelings for your country? I dislike war. I feel it is wrong to kill, but I must do my duty. Go back now, back to where you were, to the plane on the ground and the bombings and the war. It's later, the war has started. The English and the Americans are dropping bombs near you. Go back. Do you see the plane again? Yes. Do you still have the same feelings about duty and killing and war? Yes. We will die for nothing. What? We will die for nothing, she repeated in a louder whisper. Nothing? Why for nothing? Is there no glory in it? No defense of your land or of your loved ones? We will die for defending the ideas of a few people. Even though these were the leaders of your country, they can be wrong. She quickly cut me off. They are not leaders. If they were leaders... Oh, wait, she's still going on. They are not leaders. If they were leaders, there would not be so much internal strife in the government. Some people call them mad. Does this make sense to you? Power crazy? We must all be mad to be driven by them, to allow them to drive us, to kill people, and to kill ourselves. Have you any friends left? Yes, there are still some alive. Are there any that you are particularly close to? In your airplane crew, are you gunner or are you navigator still alive? Are your navigators still alive? I don't see them, but my plane wasn't destroyed. Do you fly again in the plane? Yes. We must hurry to get the remaining aircraft off the strip before they return. Go into your plane. I don't want to go. It was as if she could negotiate with me. But you must to get it off the ground. It's so senseless. What kind of profession did you have before the war? Do you remember? What did Eric do? I was second in command on a small plane. Some plane flying cargo. So you were a pilot then too? Yes. That took you away from your home a lot. She answered very softly, wistfully, yes. Go ahead in time, I instructed, to the next flight. Can you do that? There is no next flight. Does something happen to you? Yes. Her breathing was accelerating, and she was becoming agitated. She had gone ahead to the day of her death. What's happening? I'm running from the fire. My party's being torn apart by the fire. Do you survive this? Nobody survives. Nobody survives a war. I'm dying. Her breathing was heavy. Blood. Blood is everywhere. I have pain in my chest. I've been hit in my chest and my leg and my neck. It's so much pain. She was in agony, but soon her breathing slowed and became more regular. Her facial muscles relaxed, and a look of peacefulness came over her. I recognized the calm of the transitioned state. You look more comfortable. Is it over? She paused and then answered very softly. I'm floating, away from my body. I have no body. I am in spirit again. Good. Rest. You've had a difficult lifetime. You went through a difficult death. You need to rest. Restore yourself. What did you learn from that lifetime? I learned about hate, senseless killing, misdirected hate, people who hate and they don't know why. We are driven to it by the evil when we are in physical state. Is there a higher duty than duty to the country? Something that could have prevented you from killing, even if you were ordered a duty to yourself? Yes, but she did not elaborate. Are you waiting for something now? Yes, I'm waiting to go into a state of renewal. I must wait. They will come for me. They will come. Good. I would like to talk with them when they come. We waited for several more minutes. Then abruptly, her voice was loud and husky, and the original master spirit, not the poet master, was speaking. You are correct in assuming this is the proper treatment for those in the physical state. You must eradicate the fears from their minds. It is a waste of energy when fear is present. It stifles them from fulfilling what they were sent here to fulfill. Take your cues from your surroundings. They must first be put into a level very, very deep where they no longer can feel their body. Then you can reach them. It's only on the surface that the trouble lies. Deep within their soul, where the ideas are created, that is where you must reach them. Energy is everything. So much is wasted. The mountains. Inside the mountains, it is quiet. It is calm at the center. But on the outside is where the trouble lies. Humans can only see the outside, but you can go much deeper. You have to see the volcano. To do it, you have to go deep inside. To be in physical state is abnormal. When you are in spiritual state, that is natural to you. When we are sent back, it's like being sent back to something we do not know. It will take us longer. In the spirit world, you have to wait, and then you are renewed. There is a state of renewal. It's a dimension like the other dimensions, and you have almost succeeded in reaching that state. This caught me by surprise. How could I be approaching the state of renewal? I have almost reached it? I asked incredulously. Yes, you know so much more than the others. You understand so much more. Be patient with them. They don't have the knowledge you have. Spirits will be sent back to help you, but you are correct in what you are doing. Continue. This energy must not be wasted. You must get rid of the fear. That will be the greatest weapon you have. The master spirit was silent. I pondered the meaning of this incredible message. I knew I was successfully getting rid of Catherine's fears, but this message had a more global meaning. It was more than just a confirmation of the effectiveness of hypnosis as a therapeutic tool. It involved even more than past life regressions, which would be difficult to apply to the general population one by one. No, I believe it concerned the fear of death, which is the fear deep within the volcano. The fear of death, that hidden, constant fear that no amount of money or power can neutralize. This is the core. But if people knew that life is endless, so we never die, we were never really born, then this fear would dissolve. If they knew that they had lived countless times before and would live countless again, how reassured they would feel. If they knew that spirits were around to help them while they were in physical state, and that after death, in spiritual state, they would join these spirits, including their deceased loved ones, how comforted they would be. If they knew that guardian angels really did exist, how much safer they would feel. If they knew that acts of violence and injustices against people did not go unnoted, but had to be repaid in kind in other lifetimes, how much less anger and desire for vengeance they would harbor. And if indeed by knowledge we approach God, of what use are material possessions or power when they are an end in themselves, not a means to that approach? To be greedy or power hungry has no value whatsoever. But how to reach people with this knowledge? Most people recite prayers in their churches, synagogues, mosques, or temples, prayers that proclaim the immortality of the soul. Yet after worship is over, they go back into their competitive ruts, practicing greed and manipulation and self-centeredness. These traits retard the progress of the soul. So if faith is not enough, perhaps science will help. Perhaps experiences such as Catherine's and mine need to be studied, analyzed, and reported in a detached scientific manner by people trained in the behavioral and physical sciences. Yet at this time, writing a scientific paper or a book was the furthest thing from my mind. A remote and most likely possibility. I wondered about the spirits who would be sent back to help me. Help me do what? Catherine stirred and began to whisper. Someone named Gideon. Someone named Gideon. Gideon. He's trying to talk to me. What does he say? He's all around. He won't stop. He's some type of guardian. Something. But he's playing with me now. Is he one of your guardians? Yes, but he's playing. He's just jumping all around. I think he wants me to know he's all around me, everywhere. Gideon, I repeated. He's there. Does he make you feel safer? Yes, he'll be back when I need him. Good. Are there spirits around us? She answered in a whisper from the perspective of her superconscious mind. Oh yes, many spirits. They only come when they want to. They come when they want to. We are all spirits, but others, some are in physical state, and others in a period of renewal, and others are guardians, but we all go there. We have been guardians too. Why do we come back to learn? Why can't we learn as spirits? Those are different levels of learning, and we must learn some of them in the flesh. We must feel the pain. When you're a spirit, you feel no pain. It is a period of renewal. Your soul is being renewed. When you're in physical state, in the flesh, you can feel pain. You can hurt. In spiritual form, you do not feel. There is only happiness, a sense of well-being, but it's a renewal period for us. The interaction between people in the spiritual form is different. When you are in physical state, you can experience relationships. I understand. It will be okay. She had become silent again. Minutes passed. I see a carriage, she began, a blue carriage, a baby carriage. No, a carriage that you ride in, something blue, a blue fringe on the top, blue outside. Do horses pull the carriage? It has big wheels. I don't see anybody in it, but just two horses hitched to it, a gray one and a brown one. The horse's name is Apple, the gray one, because he likes apples. The other one's name is Duke. He's very nice. They won't bite you. They have big feet, big feet. Is there a mean horse too? A different horse? No, they're very nice. Are you there? Yes, I can see his nose. He's so much bigger than I am. Do you ride the carriage? By the nature of her responses, I knew she was a child. There are horses. There's a boy there too. How old are you? Very little. I don't know. I don't think I know how to count. Do you know the boy? Your friend, your brother? He's a neighbor. He's there for some party. They're having a wedding or something. Do you know who is getting married? No. We were told not to get dirty. I have brown hair, shoes that button on the side all the way up. Are these your party clothes? Good clothes? It's white, some type of white dress with a something ruffly over it, and it has ties in the back. Is your house nearby? It's a big house, the child answers. Is that where you live? Yes. Good. You can look into the house now. It's okay. It's an important day. Other people will be dressed well, too, wearing special clothes. They're cooking foods, lots of foods. Can you smell it? Yes. They're making some type of... Okay, so good. You can look into the house now. It's okay. It's an important day. Other people will be dressed well, too, wearing special clothes. They're cooking food, lots of food. Can you smell it? Yes. They're making some type of bread, meat. We're told to go back outside. I was amused at this. I had told her it was all right to go inside, and now she had been ordered back outside again. Do they call your name? Mandy. Mandy and Edward. Is he the boy? Yes. They won't let you stay in the house? No, they're too busy. How do you feel about that? We don't care, but it's hard to stay clean. We can't do anything. Do you get to the wedding later that day? Yes, I see many people. It's crowded in the room. It's hot, a hot day. There's a parson there, a parson's there with a funny hat, a big hat, black. It comes out over his face quite a ways. Is this a happy time for your family? Yes. Do you know who's getting married? Just my sister. Is she much older? Yes. Do you see her now? Is she wearing her wedding dress? Yes. Is she pretty? Yes, she has lots of flowers around her hair. Look at her closely. Do you know her from another time? Look at her eyes, her mouth. Yes, I think she's Becky, but smaller, much smaller. Becky was Catherine's friend and co-worker. They were close, yet Catherine resented Becky's judgmental attitude and her intrusiveness into Catherine's life and decisions. After all, she was a friend, not family, but perhaps the distinction was now not so clear. She likes me, and I can stand near the front because she does. Good. Look around you. Are your parents there? Yes. Do they like you as much? Yes. That's good. Look at them closely. First your mother. See if you remember her. Look at her face. Catherine took several deep breaths. I don't know her. Look at your father. Look at him closely. Look at his expression, his eyes, also his mouth. Do you know him? He's Stuart, she quickly answered. So Stuart had surfaced once again. This was worth exploring further. What's your relationship with him like? I love him very much. He's very good to me, but he thinks I'm a nuisance. He thinks children are nuisances. Is he too serious? No, he likes to play with us, but we ask too many questions. But he's very good to us, except we ask too many questions. Does that sometimes annoy him? Yes, we must learn from the teacher, not from him. That's why we go to school, to learn. That sounds like him talking. Does he say that to you? Yes, he has more important things to do. He must run the farm. Is it a big farm? Yes. Do you know where it is? No. Do they ever mention the city or the state, the name of the town? She paused, listening carefully. I don't hear that. She was silent again. Okay, do you want to explore more in this lifetime? To go ahead in time, or is this, she cut me off. This is enough. During this entire process with Catherine, I had been reluctant to discuss her revelations with other professionals. Actually, except for Carol and a few others who were safe, I had not shared this remarkable information with others at all. I knew the knowledge from our sessions was both true and extremely important, yet anxiety about the reactions of my professional and scientific colleagues caused me to keep silent. I was still concerned with my reputation, career, and what others thought of me. My personal skepticism had been eroded by the proofs that week after week fell from her lips. I would often replay the audio tapes and re-experience the sessions with all of her drama and immediacy. But the others would have to rely on my experiences, powerful but nevertheless not their own. I felt compelled to gather even more data. As I gradually accepted and believed the messages, my life became simpler and more satisfying. There was no need to play games, to pretend, to act out roles, or to be other than what I was. Relationships became more honest and direct. Family life was less confusing and more relaxed. My reluctance to share the wisdom that had been given to me through Catherine's began to diminish. Surprisingly, most people were very interested and wanted to know more. Many told me of their private experiences of parapsychological events, whether ESP, deja vu, out-of-body experiences, past life dreams, or others. Many had never even told their spouses about these experiences. People were almost uniformly afraid by sharing their experiences. Others, even their own families and therapists, would consider them odd or strange. Yet these parapsychological events are fairly common, much more frequent than people realized. It is only the reluctance to tell others about psychic occurrences that makes them seem rare. And the more highly trained are the most reluctant to share. The respected chairman of a major clinical department at my hospital is a man who is admired internationally for his expertise. He talks to his deceased father, who has several times protected him from serious danger. Another professor has dreams that provide the missing steps or solutions to his complex research experiments. The dreams are invariably correct. Another well-known doctor usually knows who is calling him on the phone before he answers it. The wife of the chairman of psychiatry at a Midwestern university has a PhD in psychology. Her research projects are always carefully planned and executed. She had never told anyone that when she first visited Rome, she moved through the city as if she had a roadmap imprinted in her memory. She unerringly knew what was around the next corner, although she had never been to Italy previously and did not know the language. Italians repeatedly approached her in Italian, continually mistaking her for a native. Her mind struggled to integrate her experiences in Rome. I understand why these highly trained professionals remained in the closet. I was one of them. We could not deny our experiences and senses, yet our training was in many ways diametrically opposite to the information, experiences, and beliefs we had accumulated. So we remained quiet. So that's the end of that chapter. So it's really, really interesting that, so many people, that something that people don't realize is like I have a lot of clients who are actually very religious or come from a very religious background. And so I'm like their little secret, or I'm like the mediumship sessions that they have with me where they're connecting with their loved ones are like their like precious secrets. They don't want anyone to find out, but they feel a connection to the opportunity to connect with their loved ones. And so they do it, and they, word of mouth gets around too as well. But it's interesting that a lot of people just choose not to share their experiences with other people because they want to be treated. They don't want to be treated like they're crazy or like they're out there. And I completely understand that because I've had to deal with that in my life many and many times and on many separate occasions. So, did any of you want to ask me something about what we were talking about with the book? John Robbins, I'm reading Many Lives, Many Masters by Dr. Brian Weiss. And this is our study group for the book. So we get together every Friday and we do a study group. Hey, Nat. We do a study group reading for it. And we talk about the stuff that's brought up in the reading. Jenna Roberts, I've had people tell me that they'll pray for me for seeing a medium. I think they need to pray for themselves. That's actually something that we're learning in the other study group, A Course in Miracles. We were just talking about this last week, where you do not pray for others. You do not offer to fix other people, because that is a contract or an agreement between them and Source or God. It is between them and God. So they have to work that out with God. It's for no one to be getting into that connection and trying to act as a stand between or go between, unless it's been something that's been like agreed by Source and the person. So yeah, Many Lives and Masters. It's like the go-to. It's the go-to source for people who are wanting to look up or wanting to study past lives or reincarnation. Because a lot of people, they don't really buy into reincarnation. They don't really think that it exists or whatnot. And so when you have as many experiences, like for myself, the reason why I do believe wholeheartedly in it is because I've had experiences where I've had memories come up. I've dreamt the memories that I had. And so it's interesting because it helps me understand why I am the way I am with certain mannerisms, certain beliefs, certain ideas, because some of that stuff is coming over from past lives that I've had where I had a type of mindset in the way that I was operating. So that's usually where it comes from. Hey, Carlos. So that's usually where the information that I get, like the feelings that I have, it comes from like a knowingness inside of me. And I would implore a lot of you to try to have try to have a past life regression, because it's a thing to experience in a lifetime, to have someone put you in a hypnotic trance and then to take you back to a prior lifetime, because a lot of things that you may not think are like significant are actually really significant. I went in, the first one I ever did, I went in just wanting to understand like why I was behaving or acting a certain way, even though in my life it's like I thought I had already worked through some of the issues that were holding me back. And then when I went through the past life regression, I totally, like, the memory that came up blew me away, because it was like, whoa, that's not what I was expecting to come up. And it explained a lot of the things that I experienced in my life, like being molested as a child and why I went through that experience. And on a soul level, what purpose did that serve, or what came from that on a soul level? I'm not talking about the human experience. Everybody can be like, what are you talking about? Like, we're supposed to be this and that. We're here as humans to have human experiences. We're supposed to have human perspective, human experiences here. We're actually supposed to come here because it is a place that allows us the experience of suffering in different various forms, and it gives us a chance to experience life in different and unique ways. We're not here to be happy 100% of our lifetime. We're here to experience the human condition, which includes suffering. That doesn't mean that you have to attach yourself to the experience of suffering, because a lot of people tend to operate from a place or a mindset of fear, and they actually make their lives harder on themselves. And that's not why you're here. You're not here to make your life worse for yourself. You're here to go through experiences that are going to be challenges for us as human beings, and then get what you're going to get from that, and then go. You're not here to make your experience as a human being harder or more painful than it needs to be. So yes, balance, absolutely. And that's the hardest part, is finding that balance, trying to get a sense of like, trying to get to a place where you can be here, you know why you're here, and you're choosing to continue with that process intentionally, but you also know that you're going to have moments where you just really struggle, or you are suffering, or you're going through a very human experience, and that's okay. You're allowed to do that here. Like, we're not supposed to be these perfect individuals here. Stephanie Joplin. My Reiki teacher told me when I go under anesthesia in 2 weeks, 7-hour surgery, to bubble up and say a prayer of protection over myself beforehand. I did ask the nurse to also hold space for me. I think that's important. I think that's you having an intention. Go in with an intention. and keep that intention through the whole process. The thing about it is, if it's time to go somewhere else, you're going to go somewhere else and you're not even going to know it. But when you go into like situations like that where you're very afraid or you're fearful, go in with the intention that if I want to live, I want to survive, I want to experience, good health, etc. This is why I'm doing this. But if something happens and I'm no longer here, then that's fine. That is what it is. But I hold this space for, survival. I hold this space for intentional living, because that is why you that's what you want to do. You want to have that mindset, that focus. Let's see. Let's see. Omeo 4032, do you believe the YouTube videos work? I tried, but don't know if I was trying to make it up or not. Here's the thing with YouTube videos and like videos that like direct you or give you instructions. They're just tools. They're just tools to help you focus your intention. From an energetic soul perspective, we don't need anything here to cure us or to heal us. We are whole beings pretending to be broken in this life. This is the point. We're pretending to be broken so that we can have a life that we have. We can see through the eyes that we have. We can experience through the heart that we have. What was the question? Because I totally lost my train of thought there. YouTube videos. If you want to use like YouTube videos or practice meditation tapes or whatever like that, they work. I mean, but you have to hold an intention, and you have to maintain that intention. You have to continue to practice it. You can't just do it one time and think that that's going to do anything. For me, like just developing my psychic and my mediumship skills, it wasn't something that happened the day that I decided to become a psychic, where I went and got certified by someone and that was the end of it. No, like I literally had to practice my skills and my sensing almost every day of my life, and I've been doing that for over 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years now. So a long time. And if I don't practice my psychic abilities or my mediumship abilities after several weeks, I actually start to get weaker in sensing, and I am not able to hold the space in my mind as well. So I have to intentionally practice. So for people who want to have a hypnosis session or use a video or YouTube or practice their psychic abilities, you actually have to practice. You have to do it on a regular basis. So if you're trying to use a YouTube video, you're probably going to have to do it several times and try to stay consistent, so that way you can build yourself into kind of a routine. And then with that, the intention gets stronger, and your psyche is going to at some point listen to what you're trying to do and help you with that process. Okay. Lizzie, I have an appointment for a past life regression next week, but for some reason I don't think I will be able to be hypnotized because my mind is so busy. You know what, Lizzie? I think most people who have busy minds, it's what I would suggest you do is I would suggest that before your session, you need to practice being taken down a number sequence into a state of relaxation. So I would actually use like a YouTube video that like walks you through a relaxation exercise for like, a good 30 minutes, and do it several days before your session, because you can start to train yourself to get to a place of just getting calm, getting silent within yourself, and then breathing through, so that way you can get yourself to a calm state. Okay. All right, guys, I am out, so I've got to go, but I love you all. I'm going to be back on tomorrow. Tomorrow's our podcast recording day, so we're going to be doing our podcast, and I'm so excited because we've been trying to work out some of the kinks in the podcast, because it's a live radio show pretty much, and so because it's a live show, we can take callers. We can have people be our guests on there. And so if you want to participate in that, all you have to do is just like go watch. You can tune in. It's not going to be on Instagram because Instagram doesn't allow that, but it'll be on Facebook and on YouTube. And just go and watch it live. And then the number that we text out, and you might see it in the description for this video as well. Text that number, your question, your first name and your question during the live podcast, and I'm going to pick a few people. I'm going to send you a link, and then you get to pick the link and come on as our guest in a video form. So check it out. It'll be a lot of fun. Okay. Love you all.